Welcome everybody to SharePLM's webinar, The Human Side of Change. I'm very excited to be here with you today to talk about transformation and human-driven change. And I will be today with my colleagues Beatriz and Maria. My name is Elena and I am the CEO of Share Enterprises. And Share Enterprises is a group of companies with a mission to amplify human potential through the use of technology. And SharePLM is one of the companies of Share Enterprises. And we also have here with us Beatriz González, who is the CEO of SharePLM. Hello, Beatriz, welcome.
Hello, thank you. Welcome, everybody.
And we also have Maria, who is leading our business development at SharePLM. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
Very good. Okay, so our agenda for today is, first of all, we are going to look at why digital transformations fail. Then we will dive into the battle in the brain, the gator versus the judge, and we will learn a bit more about how our brain works. Then we will dive into the 3 reasons why people resist change. And finally, we will share a playbook to get people on board. We will also have a Q&A at the end where we can have a discussion and we can answer some of the questions that might come up during the webinar. We will be using Mentimeter. So Mentimeter, to use it, you can scan this code that is here, or you can go to menti.com and enter the code that comes in here. When you are there, give me a thumbs up so that I know that it has worked for you. And the code will stay there during the webinar, so you can see it here at the top in case you have some issues. You can also join again using that number. Okay, great. I can see we have many people here. I hope that everyone has been successful in scanning the code or coming to Menti. And some information about the Q&A. In Teams, you have this Q&A section at the top. And if you have questions during the webinar, you can use that button to ask a question. And we will, at the end of the webinar, we will be answering these questions and having a discussion together. For the ones who have just joined, I'm seeing that there is more people joining. You can join menti.com and then use this code that comes in here. Or you can also alternatively use this code that I have here. It's a QR code that you can also scan with your mobile phone. And when you are there, give me a thumbs up so that I know that everything has worked. Okay, very good. So first of all, some data about digital transformations. As you have probably seen this figure, that 70% of digital transformations fail. This is coming from studies from Boston Consulting Group, McKinsey, and different consulting companies. And as you can see, that's a lot of money that's lost when a transformation doesn't work. The global spending, IT spending, continues to grow. This year is projected to achieve 5.1 trillion, and it continues to grow and grow with the adoption of AI and other technologies. And the cost of poorly managed change, if we do the math, it's quite high, 3.5 trillion. So there is a lot of stakes here. One question for you guys. So in your opinion, what do you think that makes digital transformations fail? You have this is like a bit of a budget. You get 100 points and you can share this budget between these options. So for example, you could give 50 points to technology limitations and 50 points to budget constraints. Give me your opinion using Menti. Okay. Okay, I can see the responses coming in, and I can see that many of us here are in the human side of the crew, because we have resistance to change as the first reason for digital transformation failures, and technology limitation is only the last one. So probably the people who are here today, we are all believers of making sure that we also get people on board when doing a digital transformation. And in a recent conference, Satya Nadella, who is the CEO of Microsoft, he was asked what he thinks is the biggest challenge in adopting technology in the coming years. And he said that he believes that the biggest challenge is really getting people to change their way of working. AI is going to really transform how we work, and I also believe that the biggest challenge is really getting people to change and to adopt this new way of working. The technology side is important as well, but the people side is most important, because every piece of technology should really exist for people. So one more question for you. If you were to think about your digital transformation, or for the consultants here, the digital transformation that you are working for, would you say that your transformation is more focused on technology or on people? And here you have a scale, and you can select if you agree with this statement or if you disagree. Mhm. Okay, so we can see here responses are coming in, and we are somewhere between 4 and 5, which is quite high. So that means that most of us believe that in digital transformations, often the focus is more on technology than on people. And this is really the hidden pitfall of digital transformation, neglecting the human element. When change is not planned carefully, people will resist and they will sabotage the transformation. And that's why we see then this kind of failures and these numbers, because at the end, people come in when the technology has already been planned and deployed, and people only get it in their faces and they need to do something with it. And it's too late. That's why we started the company CERPLM some years ago, because we were working in different transformations, and we saw that very often companies focus too much on the technology side of things, and people are left to the end. So 7 years ago, we founded CERPLM, and we started with the mission to really put people first in digital transformations and make sure that the technology works for them. We are a female-led company based in Spain, and our team is full of engineers with teaching and psychology backgrounds. And when we started 7 years ago, this topic of change enablement and the people side of things was a bit new for everyone. And when we went to conferences, no one was really talking about it. But nowadays, when we go to events, I think everyone is talking about it, because I believe that we are realizing that if we don't get people on board, it doesn't matter how much money we put into the technology transformations, we won't get anywhere. We have nowadays worked with more than 100 customers, and we are based in Spain. And we have a methodology that combines change management and PLM. Okay, and at this point, I will hand over to my colleague, Maria Morris, who will tell us a little bit more about the brain. Maria, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Elena, for that great introduction. So before we, now we've understood the fact, as you've all shown us with your response to the question, that typically technology is put before people when it comes to digital transformations. And normally this is one of the main reasons why digital transformations fail. And so before we get into kind of why the human aspect is the most important, we need to understand a little bit more about how our brains work and how us as humans react to change. So I'm going to introduce you now to the brain. And as we all know, our brain is constantly making decisions, processing information, and determining how we respond to change. And this is just as true for your personal life as it is for your professional life as well. But the interesting part about our brain is that it's actually made up of two distinct modes of operation. So we have one side of our brain that is more instinctual and emotional and reactive, while the other is much more logical and analytical. And now I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about the both sides. So first, we have our gator brain, and our gator brain can be seen more as our survival mechanism, and I'll tell you why. So the gator brain is very fast and it's very reactive, and essentially it's designed to keep us safe and avoid unnecessary effort. So if you've ever been in a situation where you get that funny feeling in your tummy and your immediate reaction is, I need to run away from here, this isn't right, that's because your gator brain is playing, it's coming into effect, it's trying to keep you safe. So the gator brain, because it's very reactive, it's very instinctual, and it likes to do things that it's accustomed to, that it feels comfortable with. For that reason, the gator brain doesn't care about long-term visions or even the scope of your transformation project, for example. It very much just wants to make sure that it feels safe and comfortable at all times. So when we start to talk about resistance to change, this is often where it starts. So in the case of digital transformations, if you ever hear people say, for instance, well, if it's worked before and I think it's working now, why should we change it? Why can't I continue my existing way of working? That's because our gator brain is sensing that there's change coming, and we want to try and maintain the familiarity. So while we can sometimes see this resistance as stubbornness, it's actually just our natural survival instinct coming into effect. And now we have the judge brain. And the judge brain is very different to the gator brain because it's the part of our brain that is evaluative, it rationalizes situations, and it's there to make thoughtful decisions. So when the judge part of the brain is presented with new information, it's the part that wants to solve problems, it's the part that's logical, and it's the part that can weigh up pros and cons of a situation. However, the issue is that unlike the gator brain, the judge takes effort, energy, and time to activate. It's not the first response as the gator brain is. So in order to activate this part of the brain, we have to put a lot of energy and also motivation into getting it working. And so now we've kind of looked a little bit about the theory of the two modes of our brain. I think it's easier for you to see how those two parts of the brain actually work in real life in a very quick and easy way. So what I'm going to do is on the next slide, I'm going to show you a series of words, and I'd like you to just read the words out loud to yourself as quickly as you can. No one can hear you, so feel free to do it out loud. And when you're done, if you can virtually raise your hand, I will know you're finished. So off you go. Cheryl's very quick. Perfect, some more hands coming up. Very good, nearly all of you. So you were very quick to complete that exercise. Now we're going to do the exercise again, but this time I would like you to read the colours of the words. So not the words themselves, the colour of them. And again, out loud to yourself. And if you can all put your hands down, and then you can raise them again when you've finished this next exercise. So let me go to the next slide as you're putting your hands down. Perfect, off you go. Elena, I know you weren't that quick. Put your hand back down. Very good. We got some hands coming up. We'll just wait a bit longer for the rest. Still waiting for some people. Okay, good. So, as I think it was quite evident that when we completed the first exercise, you were able to do it relatively quickly because you were simply reading the words. However, when I asked you to read the colours, it did take a little more time, unless you're Franco or Cheryl, which you performed very quickly on both of them. But this is a good representation of how the two sides of our brains work. In the first one, your gator brain was activated. And in the second one, when I changed the natural way of doing something, it took you a bit longer. You had to activate your judge brain. And the thing is, the gator brain is responsible for 95% of our decisions, which makes sense. It's our survival mechanism. It's the first part of your brain that is activated when you're faced with a new decision, a change, a challenge, whatever it might be. So that means in the context of digital transformations, if we don't address the gator side of our brain, there is no amount of logical reasoning, perfectly put together business cases or PowerPoint presentations that are going to convince people to change. So this is why we can't simply put the focus on technology and processes and let them do the talking. We have to actually get people involved and cater to their more emotional and reactive side. So what I would like you to do now is give me your input. So which behaviours have you all personally observed that suggest people are operating from their gator brain? Things that you may have seen in your own projects. Wow, 6 of you, all of the above. Sticking to old tools or spreadsheets. Yes, that's definitely one we see very often. And yeah, so all of these points here are typical kind of areas of resistance that we see in many of our digital transformation projects, and as we can see from your projects as well. So why does our gator brain resist change so much? So I'll share PLM in order to quickly and easily and simply explain this question, why our gator brain resists change. We take inspiration from an organizational change management expert from the US called Rick Mora, who specializes in digital transformations. And he says that typically people resist change for 3 reasons. They don't get it, they don't like it, or they don't like you. And so let's unpack these in a bit more detail. So the I don't get it level. So at this kind of resistance level, the resistance is coming from a lack of understanding. So you might hear people say in your projects, why do I need to change how I work? The old way is fine. And this is where we typically see people going back to their Excel sheets, their legacy systems, etc. Or this information is already in Excel, a very common one. Why do I need to put it into a new system? And the reason for these type of comments, this type of resistance, is that the change, the transformation has not been properly communicated. So if people don't understand the need for change, they will resist it. The next resistance level is I don't like it. And this is the resistance level that is very emotional. So whenever people are presented with changes, I mean, this happens to us even in our day-to-day lives. We feel overwhelmed, we might feel uncomfortable, or we might even feel threatened. So common reactions that typically show up with this type of resistance level is, oh, I don't have time for this. What is the purpose? Or this new system is so slow and ugly. Where do I click next? So typically when we're faced with this type of resistance, it's obviously a very emotional response, but typically it's because people have been used to working in one way, whether it's with one specific system, and now we're trying to tell them you need to use this new system. If the user experience isn't great, if it hasn't been catered to specific processes or workflows, the user experience ultimately isn't going to be great, and that's going to cause an emotional reaction and ultimately cause people to go back to familiar and comfortable ways of working, ultimately what the gator brain wants. And the last resistance level is the I don't like you. So this is the very personal resistance level. And essentially, this resistance level comes up when people question the motivation behind a change that's coming. It might be that a change is being pushed from top management, C-suite level, senior leadership, and the end users, for example, feel like this is something that is just being pushed on them. They haven't had any influence in the decision that has been made, and they ultimately feel like their voices haven't been heard. So typically some of the type of responses you might hear are, why should I care about this new system or this new initiative? Or very often we hear, when did you last do real engineering work? So you have that conflict of the people who are kind of motivating the change and the people who are going to be impacted by it. And this comes up when people aren't brought along on the journey. Their feedback, their opinions, and their experience isn't taken into consideration, and that ultimately brings up that level of kind of more personal resistance. Okay, so coming back to you guys, what types of resistance have you personally seen in your organization when introducing change? The I don't get it resistance point seems to be coming up quite a bit, all three. And this is one thing we'll look at a bit later on, but typically anybody who is faced with change, they will typically show or kind of project all levels of resistance. I don't get it, I don't like it, and I don't like you, but with varying kind of severities of each one. So it seems that in some projects that I don't get it one is the stronger one. People don't understand the motivation behind the change. Lack of ownership, yes, that's also a very common one. Yeah, the old process or system works. Yeah, so I think the three types of resistance that we've seen, I think can be very easily related to all types of digital transformations and organizational change. And it seems like you've all experienced them in one way or another. So now I'm going to pass over to Bea, who is going to walk us through some tips on how we can try to tackle this resistance and get people on board.
Thank you, Maria.
You should have control. Let me see.
Yes. Okay. So yes, Maria has explained us already the different type of resistance, and now we are going to see how we can tackle them. So imagine the change as a house. So for it to be a house, indeed, we need a roof, and the roof it's called ambition, and it's trying to tackle the resistance level that you were mentioning. I don't get it. It's the most common one. So everything needs to start with a clear vision. People need to understand where are they heading and why. If not, the resistance will grow at any time. Of course, we need a solid foundation. We need to understand people needs and concerns, because if not, we will be doing activities with them that they won't conquer the gator brain. So the resistance will only grow. And of course, to have a sustainable transformation, we need a supporting structure. That is the three pillars in the middle. We need to create opportunities for learning, immersive experiences, and also opportunities of connection with people itself. So all the goal is that the change is not only an initiative, it's a sustainable human-centric transformation. And this theory sounds good, but we are going to see 5 tips on how to apply the house to your transformations. But before we continue, I need to jump. I need your input. So please, on a scale from 1 to 5, how confident are you that your current change approach speaks to people's emotional and behavioral needs? Is it 1, so not at all speaking to considering the people, or you are very confident? Okay, it's going to the left side once we have more votes. Yeah, so we can see that there is still room for improvement, and this is the reason why are we in this webinar, because we want to learn more. We want to learn how to support the people overcoming the change. So let's see some tips. So we are going to go through 5 tips on how to help people onboard in a new system. The first tip is help them get it. So imagine that you are told that in October, 15th October, there is a go live and you will start using a new system. How would you feel? It's like another corporate initiative, top-down mandate that you need to follow, right? So you will resist the change. So we need to have a clear vision and narrative that connects to people's needs and concern. And how we can define them? Some of the tips is of course using language that relates to people. Avoid jargon. Having some language that connects with everyone in the company. Also, one way it's using storytelling. So telling what people is doing in their daily work and how the change is going to affect them in their daily tasks. And of course, we can also always use branding, vision, because branding and graphics, because the vision is something that used to be defined at the beginning and then forgotten along the transformation. So it's very important to have some kind of branding, so everyone remembers the vision along the time, the months or the years even. Once people understand why, where are we heading, the next tip would be let them like it. Imagine that you are live with the system and nobody tells you how to use it. So the onboarding is difficult and is unclear. You will feel lost and you won't like the system. So we need to help people to get to feel comfortable and capable in the system from day one. And for that, it's very important to focus on the learning. So we need to be able to combine different type of learning using blended learning. There are people that they prefer text, other ones prefer videos, other ones prefer more visuals. So we need to combine them. Also, the other tip would be combining the self-paced learning with teacher-led training, giving people to learn at their own pace, at their safety at home. So, and also giving some space for asking questions and doubts so we can gain their trust. This is crucial for them to end in liking the system. And of course, in the onboarding, it's very important to adapt the training to their processes and their role. They don't need to understand the whole system, the whole manual of the system. They need from day one to be able to know how to apply it for them and how to use it in their daily job. So if we have a very good onboarding experience, they will feel empowered to use the system. So they will like to use more and using it more at the end and taking more benefit from the system. And once they are on board, the next tip is help them like you. So imagine that now you have been on board in the system and you go to your desk, you start working with it, but 2 weeks later you haven't received any notification, any update, nothing. So maybe confusion spreads, rumors, if there are some doubts how to use the system, or they don't like the system or whatever. So we need to support them. And for that, we need to have a communication strategy in place. But the communication strategy is not everything. So we need to make sure that it is executed along the transformation. People need to be informed and reassured during the whole change process. But of course, communication is not only telling people what to do, it's also listening to them. So people need to feel heard. And for that, we can do different things. For example, we can enable roundtables where managers, for example, listen to the users, and they are able also to define an strategy or future next steps that are solving the concerns of the users or the people. And of course, not everybody feels comfortable speaking in a group setting. So we need to enable also anonymous feedback surveys. So we make sure that every voice is heard and everyone feel heard. So this is something that it helps us to make them to feel to take ownership of the change. So they are part of the change. It's not something that IT is making them to do. They are also part of it. So this brings us to the next and last tip, that is help them own it. If there is not a strong governance in place, people will be lost. They won't know what are the responsibilities and what is their role in the change. So we need to have a strong governance. So the team take ownership of all the change. So with these 5 tips, a quick summary about it so you remember it. First, it's help them get it, having a clear vision that speaks a simple language. Once they know why, they need to like the system. We need to make the onboarding easy to follow so they feel capable from day one. Also, the people need to feel listened and they need to feel informed. So we need a communication strategy and its execution, and also enable feedback channels. And finally, strong governance, we help everyone to own the change. So it's not something imposed. Now that we have these 5 tips, I want to ask you, please rank these tips in the order you believe will have the biggest impact on adoption in your organization. Just now, if you have to select one tip, one small quick win that you would do tomorrow when you come back, what could it be? The first one, and then the following. Let's see if it's help people get it, because it was the resistance that you most voted. We have 5 people. That's answer 8. This is very interesting because we always, people tend to see change management as communication and training. that this is more like health and like you and health and like you, that are the two that are below. But indeed, we see that change management is also involving a lot of project management, like is having a clear goal, having a clear vision, and also having a strong governance. So this is what makes OCM very powerful, because it's the combination of what we think more soft with also the structured way of working that a governance and a clear goal can bring to the transformation. So before you leave, okay, last question is, now you had some tips about how to implement this framework in your transformation. If you had to go to your desk tomorrow, tell me one thing that you would need to learn to lead the change with confidence. What do you feel you need to learn? Nothing. We explained it so well that no one needs anything else to learn. How to maintain energy, training skills, how to influence people, fight resistance, improve ownership, training skills. Very good. So before we finish this webinar, please remember that people are the driving force behind digital transformation. This is our mission and what we want you at least to remember from this. And also, please keep always your people at the heart of the transformation. So I will hand it over to Mariana.
Yes. So, based on this desire that we've heard from many of the people that we work with, that there's this internal desire that we understand the importance of change management, we understand the need for a human-centered approach to our transformation projects, but that there's a lack of confidence, there's a lack of kind of understanding of how should we manage training, how should we fight resistance, all the types of points that you were mentioning in the previous slide. This was kind of the motivation for us to develop what we call the change sprint. So over the last 10 days, you may have seen our development journey on LinkedIn, where we essentially realized there was this gap, people who were involved in digital transformation projects with a desire to learn more about how to make their projects more human-centric, keeping people at the heart of the transformation. We saw this gap and we decided, okay, let's try to create something that could bring value to people. And we thought we'd bring you all along on the journey on LinkedIn at the same time. And so that's why we've put together an interactive training program. And essentially the purpose of it is to equip people like yourselves who are involved in digital transformation projects with the tools and methods, but ultimately the confidence to be able to feel like you can make your transformations human-centric and bring people on board with you. And so to give you a bit more information on what it involves is essentially the change sprint it takes place over 8 weeks. So in a very short amount of time, you get a good and deep understanding of what does it really mean to create a human-centered transformation. And it involves a self-paced e-learning course, a course that you will always have access to. You can dive into any time you have doubts about a specific approach to change management, as well as weekly live workshops where essentially you put into practice what you have learned. So we want it to be very practical, very realistic, relating it back to actual projects that you are working on, but also giving you a safe space where you can ask questions, have doubts, and clarify those with change experts. And at the end of it as well, you will be able to take away the various templates and tools that we use when supporting our own digital transformation projects, so that you always have a base of or a little treasure chest of tools that you can pull on whenever you need to support organizational change management activities. And as well as that, to top it off, we're also wanting to offer coaching sessions. So essentially, you would have your own personal change advisor, change coach, who throughout your projects, whenever you have doubts, you want to ask questions, you want to make sure you're approaching a certain topic in the best way, you have somebody who you can ask and clarify those points with. And so this is what the program timeline looks like. Each week you will dive into a different topic, following the same methodology that Bea was talking us through, starting off with foundations, leading all the way to, at the end, being able to create your own human-centered roadmap, mapping out your own change management activities to your own projects. And as you're all here with us today and you followed us on this journey the last few weeks, what we wanted to do is actually give you guys the first opportunity to sign up for the first cohort of the Change Sprint, which is actually going to start on September the 17th. And as it will be the first cohort, we do want it to be a lot more intimate, a smaller group of people. And so we would love for as many of you to join as possible. And as well, being the first, you will have a discount on being able to join the Change Sprint with us. And of course, as we mentioned at the beginning, if you have any questions, of course, feel free now, because we have 15 minutes left, to put them in the chat, whether it's any feedback or input you have on what you've learned today, any questions, any specific questions about the Change Sprint. But also on the right-hand side, there's a contact form. If you scan that, you'll be able to schedule a short call with us, and we'd be able to walk you through a bit more about the Change Sprint if you have more specific questions, or if you just want to chat with us in general, you can use that contact form there.